Hello and welcome to the University of Illinois Chicago's webinar for the Online Certificate Program in Survey Research Methods. My name is Jennifer Strolko and I am a Communications Coordinator for UIC's Office of External Education, which manages UIC Online, of which Survey Research Methods is one program we offer. Today I'll serve as a moderator and I will be available via the text chat function of eRooms. We'll begin with a brief overview of eRooms, after which if you have any questions you may contact us by using the text chat or by calling our office at 312-355-0423. Let's begin by exploring eRooms before I introduce and turn the presentation over to Dr. Johnson. You will notice a full row of icons at the top of your eRoom window. The icon we will use today is text chat. We'll test that function right now. If you can select text chat at the top and click on the button when the window appears, go ahead and type something. I am typing hello and welcome, which you should all see. Okay, great. Looks like everybody is able to reply. I am now typing in our phone number in case you have any questions during the presentation. You can call in. You can also use this text chat. At the end, I'll be going through and asking any questions that you all type in, and we'll try to get answered today. Just remember that everybody can see what you write. And again, if you have any questions, just let us know. At this time, I will turn the presentation over to Survey Research Methods presenter, Dr. Tim Johnson. After the presentation, we'll talk briefly about application deadlines, and then we'll open up the floor for any questions. So without further ado, I'll introduce Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Jennifer, and welcome everybody. I'm pleased to be here with you today and look forward to addressing all your questions and providing you with a fairly basic overview of our session. At the end today, if there are additional questions that occur to you once we log out, feel free to email me directly at timj@uic.edu, and I'll be happy to get right back to you with any questions, additional questions that you might have. So to begin, what are survey methods? Well, I think that you all probably have a pretty good working knowledge of that fact, but let's do a quick review. Survey research methods are a collection of quantitative and qualitative tools for the systematic collection of quantitative information regarding individuals, organizations, and other entities. They rely on a series of different modes for collecting this information. Some of the more common ones are telephone interviews, face-to-face interviews, as well as traditional mail questionnaires, and more recently online surveys, which have exploded onto the scene over the last decade and now actually, at least at our laboratory, represent a majority of all of the quantitative data that we collect using this methodology. They all, of course, rely primarily on self-reported information that we collect during these interviews and via these self-administered questionnaires, but not exclusively. More and more, we are merging or linking our survey results with auxiliary data sets at multiple levels of analysis, whether it be census data aggregated at the block or neighborhood or county level within which respondents reside, or other databases at the individual level. And there's a number of them that we have worked with, anything from the National Health Index that's maintained by the National Center for Health Statistics so that we can examine longevity issues and predictors of mortality in populations, to other much more mundane data sources that are available publicly. Our survey data are used by a wide variety of organizations, nationally as well as internationally. Government agencies, of course, are very interested in the use of survey data. Flip ahead just a few screens here. As well as not-for-profit organizations who also conduct needs assessments and evaluations of their service programs, many of which rely upon survey data. Businesses, of course, probably represent a majority of the survey data that's being collected nationally, both for market research and other planning purposes. Of course, you're all familiar with news media. survey data that's constantly reported. With the primary season rapidly approaching us next winter, there'll be an almost daily barrage of survey reports. Many of these horse race questions that you see reported daily in the news media come from various types of social surveys that are conducted. A lot of academic research is also conducted via quantitative survey research for purposes of hypothesis testing, and we will be covering that in one of the courses that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. And of course, the public is, as well as policymakers, are main consumers of survey data, and it's hard to find a daily issue of a major newspaper or a national news broadcast that does not report survey data of some sort as part of their news reporting. So survey data is all around us and is used for a wide variety of purposes in a wide variety of different ways. Some examples of common surveys that we see in practice are listed on this screen. Again, they're used, it depends on who the users are, but the Census Bureau is in the field all year long collecting American Community Survey data, which is used to replace the old Census Bureau long form that was decommissioned after the 2000 census. And there are a number of other government surveys that are in the field year-round, every single year. The National Health Interview Survey has been in the field on an almost daily basis since 1954, collecting data regarding the health of our nation. The Consumer Price Index comes from economic surveys that have been conducted since the late 1940s. The Current Population Survey conducted by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics is the source of unemployment data for the United States that we see reported on a monthly basis. And surveys are also used at much lower levels of aggregation, both at the state level. There are statewide surveys regarding health and behaviors and risk factors, which enable states to monitor the general trends in health at the state level. And then, of course, at lower levels of aggregation, cities, villages, counties, other municipal units are also interested in collecting local data regarding various programs, citizen satisfaction, and so forth, as well as specific data to be used for program evaluations of recipients of public aid, other types of training services, and so forth. So there's a very wide, diverse variety of uses of social surveys. So what is the online certificate program at UIC? We feel it's a very innovative learning experience that's meant to help you learn how to critically evaluate survey research, as well as how to design and conduct and manage surveys yourself, as well as to develop the basic skills for the analysis of the correct analysis of survey data. It's not as simple as it appears to the layperson, and also correct strategies for interpreting results. These are the things that we try. These are the basics that we cover within our online program. And these skills are applicable to a wide range of disciplines and careers. Of course, a few slides back we mentioned the various groups that take advantage of this methodology for decision-making purposes. And of course, they all require experts with these skills to help them both with the conduct and the planning and the analysis of those data. And training is really systematic formal training is only available at a small number of academic institutions across the United States. There are several degree granting programs at other schools, but there are very, very few online certificate programs. Ours is exceptionally unique in that regard. We offer practical training that is, of course, not offered in many programs. Many of the degree granting programs provide discipline-specific methods training, and in my experience, the fields of psychology and anthropology and political science and sociology, they, of course, all rely to some extent on survey methodologies, but it's only one of a number of other methodologies that they use within their specific disciplines and And so as a result, while they do give some attention to survey research and methodology, they don't give an adequate amount that will provide students with the skills necessary really to be independent practitioners of this methodology. And of course, survey research is a dynamic field that is constantly changing. The technological innovations that we have observed in society over the last 15 to 20 years have radically altered our methodology. I've been conducting surveys professionally since 1979, and the work that we did back then bears absolutely no semblance to the methodologies that we apply today in 2011 to address the same types of research questions. There's been an explosion. There was an explosion in the use of telephone survey methodology in the late 1970s as a consequence of adequate telephone saturation rates within the general population of the United States. And we've seen explosions in the use, of course, of microcomputers in the early 1980s, which enabled us to rely much more on computer-assisted questionnaire construction strategies that greatly improve the quality of the data that we're collecting, and that continues today. It's actually quite rare to see simple paper and pencil questionnaires anymore. Of course, they do and always will have a place within our field, but only under specific circumstances. Much of what we do now is computer-driven. And of course, in the late 80s and into the 1990s, a number of other technological innovations in telecommunications both helped and hurt our ability to collect survey data via telephone. The use of telephone caller ID and other screening devices has had a dramatic impact upon survey non-response rates on the telephone, which has been a real problem that we've had some very creative strategies to address, and those are reviewed in this program, of course. Then there have been other technological innovations. The most obvious is the availability of the World Wide Web. Up until very recently, many people have said that the greatest accomplishment any place in the world in the year 1969 was the Apollo moon landing, and actually it was the second greatest accomplishment of that year. The first email message was sent over the precursor to the World Wide Web in 1969. That is now beginning to become recognized as the most significant technological accomplishment of that year, and it certainly touched on the lives of almost everybody on the planet. Not to denigrate the Apollo landings by any means, but the World Wide Web has been a tremendous boon to just about everybody, and we've certainly been able to take advantage of that in terms of survey methodology. There are still some serious limitations of that methodology, particularly in terms of sampling error and coverage error, which are being addressed, but in terms of other sources of survey-related error, such as measurement error and so forth, there have been tremendous strides in terms of the development of online survey technologies in the last decade, and we've been involved in the forefront of conducting that work, and we'll be sharing that knowledge with you as part of this program. Okay. Is this program for you? Well, it's for a lot of people. It's designed for individuals who are already employed in both the public and the private sector who wish to gain additional knowledge or practical applied knowledge in the conduct of survey methods. And it's also an important resource for students who may want to use survey methods within their own research, but find themselves in academic programs that have not provided them with adequate training in this area. And frankly, I have those students in my office on an almost daily basis where this is a methodology that's important to them, but they are in an academic discipline, and I'll throw some of them out there. For instance, biological sciences. Graduate students in biological sciences do not receive formal training in survey methods, but there are some students working on dissertations or a master's thesis in that area that are planning to conduct surveys, and they require additional training, and most of them find their way over to our survey laboratory. And that's okay if you're physically here on campus, but if you're elsewhere, this certificate program is a way to access those knowledge, that knowledge and those skills, and also a way to get some formal certification in this area, which also helps when you're looking for jobs. Why do we have a certificate program? Well, ours is designed primarily for individuals with some basic social science and statistical skills, but of course you don't require an advanced training or a graduate degree to qualify. A bachelor's